Hey everyone, so we're going to do our last algebra review today, and this is in preparation for the Castle learning assignment that I'm going to give you tomorrow. So I need you to print out this worksheet. It's 3 pages, and all you have to do after you finish watching the video is enter your answer to these 11 questions in Google Forms. So obviously, if you watch the video, you should get all the questions correct. So please make sure you watch this whole video through, as boring as it might be. And if I'm going too fast, you can always pause it, do the problem yourself, and then see if you get the right answer. Okay, so I'm going to start with number 1. We're going to find the value of this expression if x is -2 and y is -3. So first thing I'm going to do is plug in -2 for x and -3 for y. And here's where you have to be careful. Remember, when you plug in a negative number for a variable with an exponent, you put parentheses around the negative number with the exponent outside. When you type this in your calculator, you're going to evaluate exponents first, and you're also going to put parentheses around the -3 with the exponent outside. So bringing everything else down, -3 squared is +9. Then -10 times 9 is -90. So my answer is choice A. Please make sure you have your calculator out for this, because I'm going to be showing you or talking about a few things that you have to remember how to do in the calculator. Okay, take a look at number 2. Remember, we only can combine terms that are alike. So I can't combine xy with y. They're not like terms. So I'm going to start by combining the -13xy with the -9xy. Combine means add. So I'm just going to type into my calculator -13 plus -9. And that's going to give me -22xy. And then +9 plus +18 is going to give me +27y. And so my answer is choice C. Have to be careful in number 3. Think about what really is in front of this set of parentheses in between that subtraction sign and the parentheses. And hopefully you remember that there's really a -1 there that you have to distribute. So what happens when you distribute -1 is that everything in the parentheses changes sign. So I'm going to bring down my 8xy. That that x is going to become -x or -1x, and -2xy, and then just bring down the +3x. Now I'm going to combine my xy term. So 8xy plus -2xy or -2xy, however you want to type it in, is +6xy. And -1x plus 3x is +2x. So that gives me choice C. Okay, just be careful if you look at choice D. They tried to trick us there by putting 2y, so just really look at the choices carefully. So for number 4, we're going to simplify by combining like terms. Don't let the fractions upset you. You have a calculator, you obviously can use it and type in anything you want. So I'm going to combine the n's first. So 3/4 n plus -1/3 n or -1/3 n. If I type that into my calculator, it's going to give me 5/12 n. Already I can eliminate 2 of my choices, which is nice. And then I'm going to type in +3m plus 1/4 m and that gives me 3 and 1/4 m. And so my answer is choice C. Okay, moving on to the next page. You're going to see something like number 5 in the Castle Learning, and I don't want you to get afraid or upset because there's fractions. You have a calculator, so you need to use it. And you need to use scrap paper. You can't try to do this in your head. So I'm going to distribute that -6 first. So that's going to give me 9/5 p. That comes down. -6 times 5p gives me -30p. And then -6 times +3/4. When I type that in, it gives me -4.5. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So into my calculator, I'm typing in 9/5 plus -30 or -30. And that's going to give me -28 and 1/5 p minus 4.5. Now, none of the choices look like what we got as our answer. Everything is in improper fraction form. So if you remember in your calculator, if you have this -28 and 1/5, and you want to change it into an improper fraction, you press second and the ABC button, and that'll change a mixed number to an improper fraction or vice versa. And you'll see that you get -141/5, and then bring down the p. And then if you look at the second term, those are also in improper fraction form. If you change 4.5 to an improper fraction on the calculator, it's going to give you 9/2. Okay, so now if we go and look at the choices, we know it's not A and we know it's not B because the first term is incorrect. If you look at C and D, we know it's a negative term, so we know it can't be D. And for whatever reason, for choice C, they put it in a different format. Instead of writing it as 9/2, they made it an equivalent fraction, 18/4. They just multiplied the numerator and the denominator by 2. No big deal. It's still the same thing. Okay, so our answer is choice C. So you just have to be careful, that your answer might not exactly match one of the choices. You have to find the one that it's equivalent to, it just may be written in a different form. Okay, so for number 6, I have a couple of choices here. I can factor this and get my answer, or I could distribute out all of the choices and see which one gives me 25x minus 10y. So I'll factor it and then we can check it by distributing. So I know that the GCF here is 5. So 5 goes in front, and I'm left with 5x minus 2y. So I know that's choice A. But again, if I didn't know how to factor it and I just distributed the 5 in choice A, it would give me 25x minus 10y. None of the other choices, B, C, or D, when I distribute the 5, gives me 25x minus 10y. So I know my answer has to be choice A. Number 7, again, anytime they're talking about perimeter, I would always draw the picture. So they're asking us for the perimeter of the square. So each side is s minus 2. So that means there's 4 sides that are s minus 2. So one way of getting the perimeter would be s minus 2 plus s minus 2 plus s minus 2 plus s minus 2. Or since there are 4 sides that are s minus 2, I could multiply 4 by s minus 2. So if I look at all my choices, the only one that does that, sorry about that, is choice D. So again, perimeter, always draw the picture, okay? Because you might forget about, some of the sides. Okay, moving on to the last page. This is a one-step equation, so this one is not too terrible. So we're going to solve for m. So remember, we're going to cancel out subtracting 4 by adding 4. We're always going to cancel out the constant first. So now I have 2/3 m equals 18. I have two choices here to cancel out the 2/3. I can either divide both sides by 2/3, or I can multiply by the reciprocal, 3/2. Whichever way you're more comfortable, you're going to get the same answer. So when you type this into the calculator, you get C27. Okay, and again, you shouldn't get a question like this wrong because you can plug in 27 for m into your calculator and type in 2/3 times 27 minus 4, and you'll get 14. So this is an easy one because you can check it. Let's take a look at number 9, a little bit more complicated of an equation. I'm going to have to distribute first. Actually, I'm going to have to distribute first on both sides, actually twice, not on both sides. So I'm going to start with distributing the 5, and that's going to give me 5t plus 10. Okay, so here's where you have to be careful. You're distributing -3. So that gives me -6t minus 3. This t is not very easy. Minus 3. I hate the t. It looks like a plus sign. Anyway, now we're going to go to combining like terms. So 5t plus -6t gives me -1t, or -t. And then I'm going to combine my constants. So when I combine positive 10 and -3, that gives me +7 equals -2. -7 from both sides. So -1t equals -9. But be careful here. You have to divide both sides by -1. And that becomes t equals +9. So that is choice C. Okay, and again, you can always plug in 9 and check it. Okay, moving on to number 10. Again, first step here is to distribute. We only have to distribute once this time, but I get 15x. Bring down the 15x minus 9x when I distribute. -3 times +4 is -12 equals 6. Okay. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. So when I combine my x's, I get 6x minus 12 equals 6. Add 12 to both sides. I can't wait to get back to my smartboard because this pen is not easy to write with. So 6x equals 18, and then divide by 6. X equals 3. Okay, so my answer here is choice C. Okay, last question. Pizza Palace pays Tony $40 a night plus $2 for each delivery he makes. Which number line shows how many pizzas Tony must deliver to make at least $70 a night? You have to write and solve an inequality before you pick the number line. Okay, so I'm going to write an inequality for this word problem. I'm going to solve it, and then I'm going to pick the number line. Okay, so it's $2 per delivery. So it's $2 times the number of deliveries, and we're assuming it's only one pizza per delivery. So $2 times the number of deliveries plus the $40 that he's going to get paid anyway. Remember, at least always means greater than or equal to 70. So I'm going to solve this inequality by subtracting 40 from both sides. I have 2D is greater than or equal to 30. Divide by 2. I have D is greater than or equal to 15, which means that Tony has to make 15 or more deliveries. 15 is included. So when the symbol is underlined, the circle has to be colored in. So that eliminates choices C and D. Now it's between A and B. We're looking for all the numbers greater than 15 or equal to 15. So the number line that's showing that is choice A. Okay, so please make sure that you take these answers, that you enter them in on Google Forms, and that you submit it. And tomorrow when you're doing the CASA learning, please promise me that you're going to take out a piece of scrap paper and work out the problems and not try to do it in your head. Okay, have a good rest of your day. And again, hope to see you soon.